The millionaire's daughter, who never walked, discovered an amazing secret revealed by her nanny. Samantha stared out her window. The glittering suburban expanse of perfectly trimmed lawns and sleek houses felt like a blissful nightmare. The world outside was an oasis of green and pastel colors, but for her, it was a gilded cage. She sighed, her wheelchair frozen in place as she thought about how her father's empire loomed over her like a heavy shroud. Everyone knew her last name, but she longed for recognition that felt real, not just brushed with privilege. It was her darkness behind the wealth. In the quiet of her room, dust motes danced in sunbeams while she sifted through long-forgotten family albums. As she flipped through the pages, she came across a weathered envelope nestled within a box of memories. With trembling hands, she unfurled an old letter written by her beloved nanny, Miss Clara. It spilled forth a truth that threw Samantha's world into disarray. Her mother, the polished socialite, once dreamt of being a charity worker, years ago sacrificing her dreams at the altar of wealth. Every word unwrapped an invisible weight inside Samantha. Her chest tightened, heart racing as the truth glowed like a beacon against all she had known. Miss Clara's words ignited a firestorm within her. "This must change," she whispered fiercely. No more suffocating expectations. She wanted to reclaim the values her family had lost. Suddenly, she was on a mission. Over the next few weeks, she steered her chair into every opportunity to volunteer, working with veterans and feeding the homeless. Yet it wasn't all applause and gratitude. Classmates she once thought were friends silently judged her from the sidelines. Their whispers stung like daggers as they called her the millionaire's daughter playing charity. Each scornful glance chipped away at her resolve. How could they see her heart when all they focused on was her circumstance? With each event she organizing fundraisers and community events, Samantha felt the sting of loneliness. The weight of her family's dynamic pressed heavy, each argument at home echoing behind her like a relentless drum. She often caught herself wishing she could walk away not just from the wheelchair, but from the pressures of her world. Yet, in the storm, she found unexpected allies, souls who appreciated her for her desire to give rather than take, and then came the day for the real confrontation. Sitting at the edge of a delicate, pastel-hued sofa in their lavish living room, Samantha faced her mother. The air crackled with unspoken words and fierce emotions. She opened her mouth, her heart pounding louder than ever. "Mom, we need to talk." The words hung heavy, pulsing with urgency. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Samantha steadied herself, ready to reveal the letter that changed everything, a hidden truth that could either mend or break them. Would her mother see her for who she truly was or remain blind in the shadows of regret? The silence stretched between them, thick with potential. Here, on the brink of something transformative, Samantha breathed in uncertainty laced with hope and prepared to fight for the daughter she desired to be, bringing all they had buried into the light. Samantha's heart raced as she looked into her mother's eyes, searching for a hint of understanding. The room felt charged, like electricity crackling between them. "Mom, I found something important," she began, holding the letter securely in her grasp as if it were a lifeline. Her mother's expression flipped between confusion and annoyance. "Sam, can it wait? I have appointments to know." Samantha cut her off, her voice more powerful than she anticipated. "It can't wait. We have to talk about us, about you." For a moment, her mother's icy facade faltered, memories flickering in her expression. But then it hardened again, and Samantha felt the chill of rejection. "What's this about?" she asked cautiously, her tone a blend of concern and impatience. Samantha took a deep breath and unsealed the letter, her fingers trembling. "Miss Clara wrote this years ago. She told me about the dreams you had, the charity work you wanted to do instead of this life. You always emphasized how I was to live up to the Sullivan name, but what about your name? The air was thick with tension. She could almost see her mother's defenses rising, a wall built from years of expectation, shame, and resentment. Samantha, you don't understand, her mother responded, voice strained. This life, it's not who you really are. It's not who I want to be. Samantha shot back, the emotion boiling over. I'm trying to find my own way, Mom. Why can't you see that? For the first time, a crack appeared in her mother's well-constructed image. A flicker of emotion danced in her eyes, something raw and unguarded. But just as quickly as it emerged, she masked it again with rigid composure. You are making a scene. People are going to talk. Let them talk. She exclaimed, the desperation creeping into her tone. I want to do more than just exist in this world. I want to make a difference. Why can't you support me instead of hiding from it? Her mother paced the room, the soft sound of her heels against the hardwood floor filling the oppressive silence. You don't know what you're asking, she said finally, her back turned to Samantha. There are responsibilities, expectations. Expectations. Samantha echoed, flinging her arms up like they were heavy weights. Is that all it is to you? A name, a reputation? I want to be more than just a face at a gala. I want to help people who need it. The silence that followed was deafening. Each tick of the ornate clock hung in the air like a ticking bomb, waiting for the inevitable explosion. And then, like a spark igniting tinder, her mother turned sharply, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. You think I don't want that too? You think I wanted this? Her voice cracked, and in that moment, Samantha felt the shift. This isn't about what you wanted. Samantha cried, fatigue seeping into her voice. It's about what you've lost. What I could help restore. Her mother stood there, stricken, caught between the daughter she had been proud of and the mother she had become. The vulnerability laid bare between them stole Samantha's breath. Just when she thought her mother would embrace the change, a voice called out from the hallway, breaking the spell. Mrs. Sullivan. The charity gala committee is here. Samantha clenched her fists, her spirit soaring and crashing all at once. This was her moment, and yet her mother's commitment to the facade threatened to snuff it out. With determination burning inside her, she refused to back down. I'll find a way, even if you don't want to. I have to. I'm not afraid of what others think. As the echoes of footsteps grew closer, her mother glanced toward the door, torn between two worlds, the one built on wealth and appearances, and the one her daughter desperately longed to explore. And in that fragile instant, Samantha realized she had no choice but to fight for her path, even if it meant walking alone. What lay ahead felt uncertain but bright, like dawn breaking the long night. Mom, just remember, she said softly, hope lacing her voice, I'm still your daughter. I just want us to be real. The door swung open. And the chatter of the gala committee flooded the room, drowning out any further words. But somewhere within that chaotic noise, Samantha knew she had stirred something, an awakening that could ignite change or lead to confrontation. Guess I'll find out soon enough, she thought, her heart hammering with both fear and excitement as she prepared for whatever came next. Would her mother join her on this journey, or would she remain bound by chains of expectation? The question lingered in the air, echoing like a promise, a hint of what might unravel in the days that followed. Samantha stood frozen as the committee members filed into the room, their lively chatter momentarily drowning out the tension that hung in the air. She could feel the weight of their expectations, their polished smiles contrasting with her raw emotions. Every polite laugh felt like an affront to the authenticity she craved. Her mother slipped into her role seamlessly, the practiced smile returning to her face as if it had never left. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming, she called out, her voice rich with warmth yet tinged with urgency. It was disorienting to watch her shift so effortlessly from mother to socialite, as if her true self lay hidden beneath layers of glamour. Samantha took a deep breath, willing herself not to crumble. This was not just about her mother anymore, it was about having the strength to take a stand for what she believed in. The familiar knot of anxiety tightened in her stomach, but she couldn't let it win. Not now. As the committee members began discussing the gala plans, Samantha's gaze flicked back to her mother. The delicate balance of duty and desire played out in her expressions. There was something in her mother's eyes, a flicker of recognition, perhaps fear, as she caught Samantha watching her. Maybe, just maybe, she could still ignite a fire inside that gilded cage. Would anyone like to contribute a story about their involvement? One member piped up, eyes scanning for volunteers. Samantha's heart raced. This could be her chance to speak up, to break through. "I'll go," she blurted out, surprising even herself. The room turned quiet as all eyes fell on her. She took a step forward, heart pounding like a drum in her chest, every heartbeat echoing with uncertainty. I have an idea," she began, her stomach twisting. "What if we included a program that teaches kids about philanthropy? I think bringing the younger generation into our community work could make a real difference." Her voice cracked on the last word, but she held her ground. A few committee members exchanged glances, with one elderly woman nodding approvingly. "That's an interesting perspective, Samantha," she said slowly. "We could certainly explore that." Before she could process the moment, her mother's eyes turned sharp, piercing through the haze of mingling voices. "Samantha, I think we should stick to the original plans," her mother interjected, her tone icy. "We don't want to confuse our donors." "No. We can't just keep doing the same thing," Samantha countered, emotion bubbling over again. "We have to adapt or we'll lose touch with the very people we're trying to help." The tension in the room crackled like lightning. Samantha felt the committee's eyes shift again, this time curious and invested. Could it be that they were starting to see her, truly see her? Her mother's face flushed, and the smoothness of the gathering faltered. "This isn't the time or place for such radical ideas," she said tightly, though her voice quavered. Just then, a voice broke the stillness of the moment. "But young voices are the future of our mission," a man in a tailored suit spoke up, a glint of admiration in his eyes. "Perhaps we should consider her thoughts further." Samantha's heart leapt. She couldn't believe this was happening. A rush of hope surged through her, filling her with a warmth that flickered like a candle in the dark, but her mother stood firm, arms crossed, mouth pressed in frustration. "You're embarrassing yourself," she whispered, low enough that only Samantha could hear. In that moment, all the unspoken words and emotions flooded back, a wave crashing against her resolve. "No," Samantha whispered, more to herself now, "I won't let you silence me." The committee continued discussing ideas, but Samantha felt light and bold, a shift in the air around her, electrifying. Perhaps she really could make a difference. As the meeting proceeded, her mind whirled with possibilities. After a few moments, someone called out her name. "Samantha, would you help draft a proposal for this program?" "Yes," she exclaimed, the excitement bubbling. But in the chaos, she noticed her mother, standing alone, eyes narrowed, vulnerability slipping once more behind the facades of social expectations. A silence fell as their gazes locked, the bond between them feeling both fragile and electric. Could this be a bridge to understanding, or a deeper divide? Samantha's heart sank, the realization settling in, heavy yet hopeful. What if today's confrontation wasn't just the spark of a fight but the beginning of healing? And then it hit her, an idea brighter than any she had before. She would need to approach her mother, to find a way to unite their dreams, forging a connection that had long been frayed. But how? As the committee continued to chat, Samantha glanced back at the door, determined to face whatever awaited her on the other side. Would her mother ever truly embrace change, or would Samantha have to carve her own path in the shadows of that gilded cage? Time would tell. Samantha's heart pounded in her chest as she weighed her options. The committee members continued their discussions, but all she could think about was her mother's disapproval and the ever-widening chasm between them. It felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, the wind whipping at her back, daring her to jump into the unknown. She took a breath, steadying her frayed nerves, and finally made a decision. With determination sparking in her veins, she approached her mother, who was still chatting with a couple of committee members. Their laughter felt hollow to Samantha, like a distant echo of a world she desperately wanted to be a part of. "Mom," she said, her voice firm yet gentle, trying to tune out the apprehension lingering in her gut. "Can we talk?" Her mother looked down at her, surprise flickering across her features. For a moment, the socialite facade slipped away to reveal a genuine glimpse of her mother. But it was gone as quickly as it came, replaced by caution. "Now. In front of everyone." "Samantha, there's never a right time," Samantha interrupted, her heart racing. "But I can't stay silent. Not after what I said." The intensity of her own words filled the space between them, heavy with hope and fear. "Fine," her mother relented, arching an eyebrow and leading her a few paces away where they could speak more privately. "But this isn't the place for this kind of conversation." "Why not?" Samantha pressed, her courage shining through the cracks of her mother's polished armor. "We're here to change things. Why can't you see that? This is my chance, Mom." Her mother glanced around as if the room could suddenly turn hostile. "And what good will it do to upset our donors? They expect us to deliver the same events year after year. You don't get it, these are people who have connections, power, money. We can't just change everything on a whim." "But that's exactly the point." Samantha felt the passion rising. "Changing everything, making things better, reaching new people isn't that what we should be aiming for? It's about the future, Mom. We can't just keep doing what we've always done and expect different results." Her mother's eyes went hard, the mask of societal decorum slipping back into place. "Samantha, you want to save the world, but you risk destroying what we've built in the process. You need to find a balance." Samantha swallowed, the lump in her throat forming from frustration and sadness. "But maybe what we've built is not enough. Can't you see what I see?" In that moment, anger mixed with desperation in her mother's gaze. "You're being naive. I don't want you to lose everything just because of a feeling." As her mother's words cut through her like glass, Samantha felt the walls of their relationship crumbling further. "What if I'd rather lose your approval than lose who I am?" Silence hung between them, thick and suffocating. The cacophony of laughter and chatter faded into the background, leaving only their tangled emotions on display. Samantha's heart ached, but somewhere inside her, she found a flicker of peace. Maybe this was the real breakthrough, the tough conversations they had been avoiding for too long. "I want us to be on the same side, but this is who I am," she whispered. "You can fight me, or we can do this together." Her mother's expression softened slightly, hesitation crossing her features like clouds over a sun. "You think this is as easy as saying it?" "No, I don't," Samantha replied, her voice low but steady. "But I need you to see that I'm serious about making a difference." And as they stood there, two hearts beating against the tide of expectation, Samantha longed to reach across that gap. Could they find common ground, or would her mother continue to see change as a threat? With the applause from the committee members drifting closer, she wondered if today really would be the catalyst of a new beginning or just another missed chance. "Can we at least start by listening to each other?" Samantha asked, fragile hope igniting within her. Her mother's gaze softened once again, and for the first time in a long while, Samantha felt the possibility of understanding. The air between them buzzed with uncertainty, but just maybe, they could begin to bridge a divide that had felt insurmountable, and then, the committee's chairman approached, ready to close the meeting with yet another polished presentation of their plans. With a heavy heart but a flickering flame of determination, Samantha prepared for whatever lay ahead. Would her voice make a difference? Would her mother even consider what she had suggested? As she watched her mother turn back to rejoin the others, something within her whispered, this is just the beginning. The applause rolled through the room, loud and rhythmic, bridging the gap between the scattered conversations and the formal chaos of the event. Samantha felt the noise wash over her, a tidal wave that both encouraged and suffocated her. Her mother's silhouette brushed past her, a picture of hidden tension that made Samantha's heart clench. "Let us get on with it," her mother muttered to the chairman, who moved into his role with practiced ease. Deep down, Samantha knew she would have to navigate the growing gap between them on her own. She caught a glimpse of her mother's face shining under the spotlight, wearing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. As the chairman launched into the evening's agenda, Samantha turned her focus inward. She blinked back the disappointment pooling in her chest and let a small breath out into the anxiety-filled air. She couldn't ignore the fear bubbling inside her, a fear of letting go of her dreams. Where did she fit in this world of polished smiles and cutthroat ambition? Would her mother let her leap into the unknown if she continued to fight against the tides? One by one, fingers raised to ask questions, but Samantha found no words of her own. Instead, she felt heavy burdens of expectations pressing down on her. "I know this isn't an easy conversation," but her voice echoed in her mind, but nothing left her lips. It felt so pointless to speak. The chairman continued, detailing their plans for upcoming charity events, pitching one idea after another, all the while glancing at the elite crowd that nodded in agreement. "We're keeping our focus on tradition," he declared, nodding toward Samantha's mother, "making sure our legacy lives on." Pride etched itself onto her mother's features, but Samantha craved validation for her own thoughts. She imagined herself standing on a stage, speaking openly about the impact of their work, not just out of obligation but from the deep desire to create change. But facing the hardened stare of her mother made the idea tremble. Suddenly, something caught her eye. A flash of movement caught her attention from the corner of the room. A young boy, no older than 10, slipped unnoticed between the legs of the crowd. His clothes were worn, but he had that unmistakable spark of determination. He darted with agility, his quickened pace making him invisible amidst the world of wealth and balloons. Samantha's heart raced as she watched him squeeze through and make a beeline for the donation station. Was it possible he was trying to reach for something? The innocent hope he radiated captured her. He was chasing after possibilities most people in the room had long forgotten. "Excuse me," she uttered, hardly aware of the startled looks thrown her way as she broke from her mother's side. With each step toward the boy, her conviction grew. "Hey! Where are you going?" she called out, just loud enough to reach him over the clinking glasses and murmurs. He turned, his wide eyes filled with a mix of astonishment and defiance. "I'm getting food," he said, as if that should have been obvious. "What about your parents?" "No one's watching me," he said, shrugging, an indignant smirk on his lips. Samantha's heart twisted. "You should talk to someone." "I'd rather eat than stand around," he replied, an unexpected grin blooming despite the serious conversation swirling around them. As she observed him, an idea sparked within her. Maybe it was time for her to take a leap, too. A step out of her mother's shadow. Samantha felt the world shift. This boy, with his carefree spirit, reminded her that there was more out there than adhering to tradition. "Can you show me?" she asked suddenly, surprising herself. He cocked his head, and his expression brightened. "Show you what?" "Show me what you're doing. I want to see." The boy nodded, his grin widening as he darted toward the donation table. And as Samantha followed him, a sense of liberation ignited within her. With each step, she felt the barriers that had separated her from herself beginning to crumble. She didn't need her mother's approval to explore her path, she just needed a way to understand the world differently, and maybe, just maybe, they could all learn something beautiful together. As the applause died down and the crowd faded away, she looked back at her mother, whose gaze seemed distant, troubled. Would this be the moment she defined her voice? When the boy paused to survey the room, his gaze caught hers with a confidence that felt contagious. Samantha knew she was ready to leap. Would her mother be able to catch her? The stage was set, and the air felt electric. Would the chaos of ambition offer her clarity, or lead her to chase an even deeper understanding? As Samantha approached the donation table, the boy's energy was magnetic. His unadulterated enthusiasm was like a breath of fresh air, something she desperately needed. He scanned the colorful array of items and looked back at her, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "Ready to see?" he asked, vibrating with excitement. "Absolutely," Samantha replied, surprising herself with the genuine eagerness in her voice. He whipped around and pointed at a stack of trays laid out for the attendees. "These are for charity. They're gonna feed the homeless. People just forget about it, but it matters." Samantha followed his gaze and felt her heart race again. "You mean you're helping?" "Yeah. I want to help them eat." He beamed. "But nobody ever lets me." The revelation hit her, heavy and warm. Here was this child, who had faced a world that seemed to overlook him, yet he held on to hope. It was a contrast to the world of her mother, filled with prestige but lacking in authenticity. Could Samantha be just as brave? "Why don't you take a tray and go?" He let out a laugh that rang through the air. "Because nobody would let me do that. I'll get in trouble." "Perhaps I can help," she suggested, feeling a flicker of defiance bloom inside her. "Really? You'd do that?" "Why not?" she replied, inspired by his spirit. With a quick nod, they worked together. Each plate they filled became a small act of rebellion against the suffocating expectations of her life. They stacked the trays high and navigated their way through the lingering crowd. Samantha felt alive. It was as if each step away from the formal event was a step closer to understanding herself. Eyes that had once felt heavy with judgment now felt light with purpose. And when they reached the door, she looked back one last time. Everyone was engrossed in their conversations, their smiles masking a more profound disconnect. No one noticed the two of them slipping through the exits. As they stepped outside, the air was crisp and fragrant. A world beyond glitz and glamour enveloped them, buzzing with its own life. "Come on." The boy tugged her hand, leading her towards a park nearby. The thought of freedom was intoxicating. Just moments ago, she was paralyzed by obligation, now, she was consumed by curiosity. "Why did you come here?" he asked suddenly, as they reached a small patch of grass scattered with fallen leaves. Samantha paused, counting her breaths, feeling the weight of truth. "I was expected to be here. It's part of my family's reputation." The boy scrunched his face in confusion. "But it's boring." He laughed, his carefree spirit contagious. "Maybe it is," she admitted, a smile creeping across her lips. "But I think I'm learning something different today." "Like what?" "Like it's okay to want more, to care." As they settled on the grass, Samantha felt the tension of the evening lifting, replaced with something she hadn't felt in ages: possibility. Her heart opened to the realm of options beyond her mother's plans. "What if we keep coming back here and you help me help others?" "Seriously? That would be amazing." The boy's enthusiasm lit up his face, his small teeth shining against the sun. Suddenly, she caught sight of something shimmering in the distance, a familiar figure. It was her mother, standing at the event's entrance, scanning the crowd. A tight knot formed in Samantha's stomach. Would her mother understand? Would she truly let her step away from the strict traditions binding her? As the boy whooped in delight, Samantha's thoughts spiraled into confusion. Was she ready to confront her mother? Would this boy's brave spirit be enough to push her over the edge? The moment hung in the air, like a choice waiting to be made. Would she run back to her mother or leap into the new path unfolding before her? Everything felt suspended, and as she looked back at the boy, hope filled her heart. The path ahead could change everything, but was she prepared for the possibilities that awaited? The boy's laughter was like music, but Samantha couldn't focus on it. Her mother, in that elegant coat, seemed out of place in the park with its earthy tones and laughter. That tight knot in her stomach grew heavier. Was her mother here for her, or was this another attempt to drag her back into the gilded cage she couldn't bear? "Hey, are you okay?" the boy asked, concern lining his young features. Realizing her moment of hesitation, Samantha took a deep breath. She needed to keep the child's trust, and more importantly, she believed in the goodness he represented. "I just need a second." It was a small lie, yet it felt massive. She needed to decide, her heart thudded as she lifted her chin. Tonight hadn't just opened a door, it had flung it wide open. Memories of the polite conversations, the forced smiles, and the ways her mother controlled every aspect of her life rushed back. She had always been the good daughter, never challenging, always compliant. But in this moment, she felt the urge to break free like a bird tearing through its cage. The boy picked at the grass, his optimism untainted by reality. "I want to help the homeless and make a difference. It's gonna be the best." His exuberance was a beacon, pulling her focus back to what truly mattered. "Okay," she said finally, more to herself than the boy. "Let us do it." She turned to the direction of her mother, locked on the woman in the distance. Every step toward her felt like a declaration of independence. The reality of her situation was daunting, but the boy's faith was intoxicating. As they approached, her mother's gaze zeroed in on them, ice-cold and calculating. "Samantha," she called, a hint of surprise breaking through the usual sternness. "Where have you been?" Instead of cowering under the pressure of her mother's voice, Samantha stood straighter. "I was learning something important." Her mother's eyebrows knitted together. "You weren't supposed to. I don't have to follow your plan anymore." The words burst out of her, surprising even herself. The silence that followed was palpable. The boy, still buoyant, pumped his fists in the air, an innocent cheer for Samantha's newfound audacity. But around them, the world fell silent as people turned to listen. This moment felt edge-of-your-seat dramatic, not just for her but for everyone watching. "Samantha, we need to talk about this," her mother said slowly, clearly shocked. "Actually, I think I need to talk about what I want. What I really want." Every syllable danced on the breeze, filling her with a strength she hadn't known she had. The boy elbowed her, grinning like he had just won the lottery. "See? That's what I'm talking about." At that moment, Samantha realized she had more power than she'd ever given herself credit for. Perhaps, just perhaps, the life her mother envisioned could shift if she stood strong enough. Her mother's eyes narrowed. "This is unacceptable, Samantha. You know what people will think." But her words only fueled the fire within Samantha. What would it matter now? For the first time, she was learning to care less about accolades and more about authenticity, about real connection. Stepping back, she turned to the boy. "What's next?" she asked, her voice steady, determination seeping into her core. He jumped up. "Let us go feed those who need us." The energy between them ignited again. This was what she wanted, to take the bright pinwheel of hope he'd shared and give it life. The warm park air felt like a fresh beginning. As they started walking away from her mother's confused expression, Samantha couldn't shake the thrill of adventure mingled with fear in the pit of her stomach. She had made her choice, but would her mother retaliate? How far was she willing to go for her dreams? Their silhouette stretched long against the setting sun, a potent reminder that sometimes facing the truth means leaving old attachments behind. Each step felt monumental, but she knew the road ahead was uncertain. Would they truly make a difference together, or would the shadows of her past rise to block their path? In her heart, excitement mingled with doubt. They had a mission now, but the hardest part was still ahead. The boy led the way, his little legs bouncing with energy as he charged ahead. Each rush of wind through Samantha's hair brought a mix of exhilaration and trepidation. With every step, the park transformed from a moment of confrontation to a realm of possibility. "Are you sure about this?" Samantha asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The reality of their mission was dawning on her. Feeding the homeless wasn't just a task, it was a testament to the kind of person she wanted to be. "Of course. It's the best," he replied, his enthusiasm infectious. His innocence shielded him from the complexities of the world, and in that moment, she envied him. "Okay. Let us do the best, then." She felt the weight of her mother's disapproval still hanging in the air, but they pressed on, each step easing the grip of her former life. They soon arrived at a bustling corner, where a few people were already offering sandwiches and warm coffees to those who needed it most. The boy jumped into action, his heart clearly bigger than his size. As he handed out food with a smile, Samantha hesitated for just a moment, watching him. Then, grounding herself, she joined in. She started to hand out cups of steaming coffee, and with each interaction, she felt herself shedding the layers of doubt wrapped around her. "Thank you." A man with weary eyes accepted a cup with a smile that looked genuine, but Samantha could see the sadness lurking beneath. That hollow expression hit her like a wave. She felt her chest tighten, a reminder of her own struggles, but this was different. Here, she was part of something real. With every exchange, her confidence grew. She chatted, listened, really listened. Each story she heard filled her with understanding. One woman, huddled against the cold, shared how she had lost her job after an unexpected illness. Another man proudly told her about the daughter he hadn't seen in 5 years, each word a painful reminder of lost connection and dreams undone. By the time they finished, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting deep shades of orange and purple in the sky. Samantha stood there, breathing in the evening air, and for the first time in a long time, she felt a sense of belonging. "Did we do it? Did we make a difference?" the boy asked, bouncing on his heels, eyes sparkling with excitement. "Absolutely," she replied, her heart swelling. "But this is just the beginning." They shared a moment, a bond forged through kindness. In that connection, Samantha realized that the world felt a little less daunting when she had a purpose, however small it may seem. But then her phone buzzed. It was her mother, the message a cold and sharp reminder of the life she was trying to leave behind. "You will regret this. Meet me at home, now." Her heart sank, anger mingling with resolve. She had only just taken a step toward freedom, but the forces that sought to keep her shackled were already reaching out. I have to go," she stammered, the fear surprisingly heavy in her gut. The boy's expression shifted to concern. "Is everything okay?" Samantha looked towards the fading sunset, the joy of the moment almost overshadowed by the encroaching darkness of her family obligations. She couldn't let her mother win. "No, not really, but it doesn't mean I have to give up." "Can I come with you?" he asked, genuine worry in his eyes. She hesitated, realizing that this kid, full of hope, might feel the weight of her world crashing down. "It's complicated." As she stood there, uncertainty gnawing at her, she realized her fight wasn't over. She owed it to herself and to the boy to keep moving forward. With a tight grip on her determination, she met his gaze. "But I promise you, we'll come back to do more good. Together." The challenge before her loomed larger than any she had faced, and yet, standing there with a new friend, she felt the flicker of hope ignite within her. Would she find her way back to the light, or would she slip back into the darkness? Samantha's heart raced as she turned away from the park, the soft laughter of the boy fading behind her. Each step felt heavier than the last. The weight of her mother's expectations pressed down on her, a familiar chain that she struggled to break. But beside the anxiety was a flicker of hope, a small ember of strength kindled by the kindness she had witnessed that evening. "Are you okay?" the boy asked, his small hand reaching for hers. That innocent touch sent a jolt through her. She knelt down to his level, forced a smile, and tried to mask the turmoil brewing inside her. "I'll be fine. Just thinking." Samantha brushed her hair back, a nervous gesture she had always had. "Thanks for asking, though. Can we play a game while we walk?" he suggested, the light in his eyes finally igniting her own. "How about I name a color, and you see something of that color? Like green." "Okay," she replied, eager for a distraction. "Grass." He laughed, and for a few moments, they played as they strolled away from the warmth of the park. The boy named colors, and she pointed out everything from the deep blue of someone's pickup truck to the crisp white of a church's steeple. Their light-hearted banter helped her forget the messages piling up on her phone and the confrontation waiting at home. But as they turned a corner, she felt the familiar knot return at the thought of her mother's disappointment. When they reached a nearby diner, the neon lights flickered overhead like a beacon of normalcy in their whirlwind of emotions. It was packed with people, laughter echoing against the walls, but it felt warm and inviting. As they entered, the smell of bacon and freshly brewed coffee wrapped around them like a hug. Samantha sat down at a booth, welcoming the distraction. "You hungry?" she asked the boy, who shook his head enthusiastically. "Yes. But I want to pay back for what we did today. I want to buy someone food." Her heart fluttered. It amazed her how genuine his desire was. "That's so thoughtful. We can definitely do that. How about we split something for ourselves too?" They ordered, and as they waited, stories of the people they had met earlier flitted through Samantha's mind. Each tale resonated, weaving a complex tapestry of resilience and heartache. It was a world unknown to the boy, yet he was unburdened by the weight of its realities. "Hey," she said softly, a thought bubbling up. "What's your name?" "Eli." "What about you?" "Samantha," she replied, her smile widening. "Cool. So, Samantha, this doesn't feel like the end of our day. It feels more like the beginning. Like a new adventure." He said it so simply, yet it struck a chord. The new adventure idea filled her with warmth. Suddenly, the weight of her responsibility seemed to lighten, if only slightly. "Yeah, it does feel like that." She took a deep breath, inhaling ambition and resolve. "And adventures have ups and downs, don't they?" "Definitely." Eli grinned. "But no matter what, we'll be okay, right?" "Yes, exactly." She found herself nodding. It wasn't just optimism, it felt like a promise, and just when that promise felt real, her phone buzzed again, vibrating insistently on the table. It was a relentless reminder of the reality waiting back home. "Eli," she said, fighting against the dread creeping in. "What if we took this adventure further? What if we find people who need help and keep doing it? Not just today." His eyes sparkled, a tiny superhero in the moment. "Can we really do that?" "Yes, I believe we can," she whispered, a wave of determination washing over her. The bell above the diner door jingled, and two familiar figures walked in. Her mother, with that signature disapproving frown, and behind her, a man she hadn't seen in years. Panic gripped her heart. "Eli," she started, her voice shaky. "I think we have a problem." His excited smile wavered, confusion etching across his face. As her mother's icy glare found her, Samantha braced herself for the storm ahead, uncertain if this adventure would pull her deeper into darkness or lead her into the light. Samantha's heart thudded in her chest as her mother approached with purpose, that familiar mixture of disappointment and authority rolling off her like a winter chill. "Samantha," her mother's voice cut through the crowded diner, hard and unyielding, "we need to talk now." Eli looked up at her, wide-eyed. "Is that your mom?" Samantha nodded, a lump forming in her throat. "Yeah. Just give me a second, okay?" Eli's face softened with concern, and he nodded silently, sliding onto the seat of their booth as if sensing the storm brewing. "Let's step outside," her mother said, glancing at Eli with a cold gaze, dismissive of the boy's youthful spirit. Samantha felt a surge of anger but could barely hold on to her voice. Outside meant the world could watch, and she wanted to keep this hidden, this battle of hearts. But it was too late. Taking a deep breath, Samantha followed her mother into the bright glare of the diner's neon lights. "What do you think you're doing?" Her mother's tone was sharp, laced with a venom that felt like a slap to the face. "I was helping people, Mom. I found something that matters to me," Samantha shot back defiantly, her chest swelling with purpose. "By abandoning your responsibilities?" Her mother's words came out like ice shards. "You think this, whatever you're trying to do, is going to change anything?" Samantha stood tall, ready this time to protect what mattered. "You think I'm abandoning responsibilities? You put these expectations on me. I'm finally taking a stand for something I believe in. I'm breaking free from them. Breaking free? Her mother replied, incredulity painted across her face. You think you can just walk away from our future? From everything we've built together? The air crackled, electricity dancing between them. Maybe what we've built isn't enough anymore, Mom. Maybe it's time to rethink what really matters. Her voice trembled with emotion. I want to connect with real people, not just attend gala after gala in a life I don't want. A mixture of anger and sadness flashed in her mother's eyes, and the facade of the polished socialite flickered. You don't understand how this world works. You can't just waltz into it thinking you can save everyone. You have no idea. But I do have an idea. Samantha shouted, her heart racing. I've seen what it's like to be forgotten. I've felt like a ghost in a world of glitz. Meeting people like Eli, hearing their stories, it ignited something in me. I don't want the life you think is perfect. Her mother's face softened for a moment, her grip tightening around her purse. Samantha, she said, a tremor in her voice, you have a good life. Just because it isn't what you envision doesn't mean it lacks value. But it lacks authenticity. Samantha pleaded, feeling the fissures in their relationship widen and deepen. I want to be a part of this community for real, not just for appearances. I want to help, to make a difference. Please, just try to see me for who I am. A crack of vulnerability flickered in her mother's eyes, and for a fleeting moment, Samantha felt a glimmer of hope. But then it faded. You could ruin everything, Samantha. You risk damaging our family's legacy. And what's a legacy worth if it means sacrificing who I am? She took a step closer, pouring every ounce of heart into her plea as tears threatened to spill. What if, instead of facing each other as opponents, we could explore this journey together? What if you could help people, too? Her mother hesitated, the tension shifting. For the first time, Samantha saw her mother falter, torn between tradition and the person standing before her who was so desperately trying to connect. Suddenly, an idea sparked in Samantha's heart. Let's join forces for the next gala, but revamp it. We can have a charity program that engages people outside our circle. We can let our community in and share what's hidden beneath the surface. Her mother's expression became an intricate tapestry of emotions: frustration, fear, and a hint of curiosity. You would want me to be part of that? Being part of something real means both of us working together, transforming this challenge into a chance for change, Samantha encouraged softly. In that moment, time felt suspended, the world around them fading into a blur as they stood faced with each other. I can't promise you it'll work perfectly, her mother replied, her voice barely a whisper, but I'll think about it. Samantha's heart soared. Promise me you won't shield me from trying to make a difference. Let's do this together. I promise, her mother said slowly, a hint of warmth breaking through. As they stepped back inside the diner, Samantha took a deep breath, the familiar sight of Eli bouncing eagerly at their booth flooding her heart with hope once more. Eli looked up, his innocent spirit undiminished. Did you talk it out? Yeah, Samantha nodded, her heart full of belief. We did. And now it's a new beginning. As they all sat together, Samantha felt the walls that had trapped her for so long crumble slightly, leaving room for the first seeds of change. Finally, she could see her mother walking toward her with an open heart and the possibility of warmth, and she felt the first hints of a bond rekindling. Let's feed more people, together, Samantha said, her smile radiant as they joined hands. In that moment, clarity rushed through her. The world was vast, possibilities endless, and together, they could turn the tides of expectation into waves of real impact. And so, as the sun set outside, Samantha realized she was not just the millionaire's daughter. She was a daughter reclaiming her story, one woven with authenticity, love, and purpose. Rainbows of hope arched over their heads, signifying a new dawn, just waiting to spill across the horizon. This was just the beginning. Now's your chance to be part of the journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories, leave a like now to feed the algorithm, comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now, this is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.